Friends, I'm Dr. Samar from an obstetrician and gynecologist from Kerala. The title of the topic I'm presenting, Preeclampsia and Eclampsia, a consequence of immunological maladaptation, Part 1. Greetings from God's own country, Kerala. Preeclampsia is a human-specific disorder of pregnancy with not well-known etiology. Immunological maladaptation, placental ischemia, oxidative stress, and genetic factors are suggested for etiopathogenesis. Here, I would like to share some case scenarios which occurred in this area in the recent past. Case number 1. A full-term woman was in active labor on the labor ward. No significant clinical features of preeclampsia. Labor was progressing well. Neither she nor the doctor do not know what is ahead for her. Episiotomy was given. Baby delivered. Profuse bleeding started from LMLE site. Atonic bleeding was also added. Bleeding did not stop in spite of all efforts. She slipped into shock and was put on ventilator. In spite of all efforts, the woman passed away within few hours. Her liver enzymes were elevated, platelets were low, and her D-dimer values were very high, and she was in DIC without significant features of preeclampsia. Case number 2. 26-year-old staff nurse at term, complaining of feeling not well, mild pregnancy edema was present, and mild jaundice was detected just before she went into labor. She was taken for LSCS for fetal distress. She had profuse bleeding during surgery which could not be stopped. She was put on ventilator and was shifted to tertiary care center. She passed away on second day with MODS. Liver enzymes were elevated, platelets were low, and her D-dimer values were very high. She was in DIC without significant clinical features of preeclampsia. Case number 3. At community health center, a woman was in active labor with severe PIH. Blood pressure was 180 by 120. Urine albumin plus plus, pedal edema was plus plus. ARM was done. Meconium stent like grade 2. Referred to higher medical center. At tertiary care center, obstetrician received the case. Fetal heart decelerations were noted. Blood pressure was 180 by 120. 20 milligrams of labetalol IV was given and shifted the woman to the OT. Spinal anesthesia was given. Within minutes, the woman went into severe hypotension and developed cardiac arrest and died on the table. The questions that are lingering in our minds are why these women died, why we could not prevent these deaths, whether our understanding of this disease is inadequate. Let us see whether my presentation today can throw some light on these issues. Reproductive function progressively evolved in the process of evolution in animal kingdom. Protozoans like amoeba multiply by binary fission. Earthworms are bisexual animals. In frogs, fertilization and development of embryos occur outside the body of the mother and on the surface of water. In birds, the embryos stay inside the mother for a short period of time and further development occur in a shell of egg outside the mother. In mammals, the fetus stay inside the uterus for a long period of time till it attains completion of fetal functional maturity. The hemochorial placenta carry out all the vital functions of respiration, excretion, and nutrition. This prolonged stay inside the mother results in deportation of fetal tissues into mother and metal cells or proteins into the fetus. This results in certain immunological problems. Deep endovascular invasion of trophoblast, which could be a consequence of increased nutritional demands of growing human fetal brain, is a specific character of human presentation when compared to lower mammals. In lower mammals, the placentation is shallow. This deep trophoblastic invasion wide opens the metal circulation for growing placenta and fetus. This permits larger entry of allogenic fetal cells into mother when compared to lower mammals. This could be the reason for preeclampsia, representing a human specific disadvantage of reproduction when compared to lower mammals. Immunological interactions at fetal-maternal interface at the time of trophoblastic invasion. At fetal-maternal interface, the maternal immune system undergoes significant adaptive changes to accommodate the allogenic fetus. At the same time, the maternal immune cells make efforts to protect the mother from unsafe and non-self allogens of trophoblast. From fetal side, the trophoblast vehemently makes efforts to invade the endometrium by influencing the maternal immune system by different mechanisms to protect the growing fetus. All these interactions results in wide spectrum of outcomes. At one end of the spectrum, mother completely accepts the conceptus and provides angiogenic environment which results in flooding of blood supply to embryo, permitting the rapid growth of the fetus. At the other end of the spectrum, maternal immune system completely rejects the conceptus by creating an anti-angiogenic environment just like in graft rejection, which cuts off blood supply to the embryo, which results in early spontaneous abortion. In between these two ends of spectrum, varying degrees of adaptation where maladaptations can occur, which can result in varying clinical presentations like early onset PE, late onset PE, and IUGR. This adaptation and maladaptation process occur not only at fetal-maternal interface but also between deported fetal tissues and maternal immune cells in different organ systems of the mother. Factors operating from maternal side of fetal-maternal interface. Modifications take place in immune cells at fetal-maternal interface like natural killer cells, antigen-presenting cells, macrophages, complement system, mannose-binding lectin, complement protein C1q, phycolins and vasligands, and toll-like receptors which make fetal-maternal adaptation possible. Further continuation of presentation will be with part 2